So we are on Little Coho Creek today in North Marysville, Washington, off of 67th Avenue. And Little Coho Creek is a tributary to Allen Creek. Allen Creek is really unique. It's one of the only streams that's draining directly into the lower Snohomish River. It's also a very fishy system. Coho really seem to like it. We would like to see more coho salmon coming to this creek. This is a project that's actually going to be adding to the benefit of the project that we conducted in the past. It's sort of a coincidence that that's occurring, but at the same time, it shows how you can get multi-benefit from these types of things. We're on a piece of private property here in North Marysville, and we're directly adjacent to a business park. And this private landowner approached us. There were some issues that were occurring with a culvert pipe that was on his property here. He approached us to see what he could do to make that better, knowing that we were involved in the natural resources. We actually worked with the landowner to procure the permits for this project, and then the landowner himself furnished all of the funding to actually do the work. And then we worked with him to make sure that the work that was being done in a fish-friendly and environmentally friendly way. The site that we're at here on Little Coho Creek, there was an 80-foot long culvert that was approximately 36 inches in diameter, which was an undersized culvert for the amount of water that flows through this creek. The other thing that's a little bit interesting about this culvert here is that it actually was at the site of an abandoned crossing. So the culvert wasn't serving any ecological or any function at all for property owners or for access to and from the property. So usually when we do a project like this, there's a multi-phase process that needs to take place. You need to figure out how you can actually move the water. So you have to get the water out of there so that you can protect fish life while you're doing the project. So what we did is we actually came in with some block netting. We blocked off the stream above and below the project area. Then we came in with some shocking equipment and we used electricity to capture all of the live fish that were in here. And we actually encountered several hundred live juvenile salmon through the reach where we were going to be doing the culvert removal. Once you've got all the fish out of the area, you're then going to use some sort of water bypassing system to move the water out of the creek so that you can get the water out of the work area. Once we've relocated the water from the creek channel out of its creek bed so that we can work in the wetted area of the creek, realistically, it's a basic excavation practice. So they come in with some excavation equipment. They're going to dig the pipe out and pull it out. They'll set the pipe aside. And then what you're trying to do is you're really trying to kind of mimic the natural environment of the creek. So you're going to reslope the creek channel so that it closely matches what's naturally occurring. We're going to put some plants in here so that it's going to mimic the natural riparian ecosystem and mimic the natural environment. Hopefully so that within 20, 50, 100 years, when you come back and look at this, you're not going to be able to tell that humans came in and had done any work here. We want it to look as natural as possible and function as naturally as possible. When we think about creek crossings or river crossings, the thing I think that people really think about a lot of the times is obviously like large bridge structures. When you're driving on I-5, you go over the Snohomish River in a number of different places. You drive over the Stillaguamish River in a number of different places. And those are big, broad scoping crossing structures, which are predominantly owned by bigger entities like Department of Transportation and larger entities like that, Snohomish County or city municipalities. Well, there are tens of thousands of privately owned culverts throughout the state of Washington. Working with private landowners is imperative to be able to see meaningful salmon recovery in the future. If you make improvements to those larger crossings, but you fail to make improvements on these smaller crossings, you're really only getting to just a part of the picture. And the Tulalip tribes is in a unique position to have the ability to work with those private landowners. And I think as we continue to do this kind of work, it's becoming more apparent to private landowners that we're trying to benefit them as well as the environment. So we're really out here trying to do the best we can, both for the landowners as well as for the resource. And I think ultimately the benefit from this project that we would like to see, and from any project like this, is more fish, and we'd like to see those fish getting higher into the system and being able to utilize habitat that is available and exists upstream from these structures that they have not been able to access before.